Right, hello everybody and welcome to this webinar. Thank you all for joining. This is a joint webinar being held by Southwest Procurement Alliance. My name's Mary Bennell and I'm the Regional Director of the Southwest Procurement Alliance. I'll be speaking, the theme is modern methods of construction, and I'll be speaking for about 5 minutes and then handing you over to Nick Turner and Stephen Boyd from Building with Frames, who are one of our framework providers. This is the second of a series of webinars featuring our suppliers on our off-site construction of new homes framework. And what we want to do is to give you an understanding of what is available through our framework and what the suppliers can do. So I will be speaking for, as I say, for 5 minutes. Let's get through onto the next slide. So there'll be a question and answer session at the end of this. The way you do that is to put the question and answer window at the bottom of the screen and put your question in, and then we'll do it. We'll take the questions at the end. Just to say that my internet connection is not very good from my damp wood in Devon, so if I suddenly freeze, my colleague Penny will take over. There might be a slight hiatus whilst that happens, but do not worry, we'll continue through. So just a quick intro to SWPA and who we are. Our purpose is to deliver better homes that enhance local communities. And we're the regional brand of the London Consortium that was launched in October 2019. LHC's been around for a long time, since 1966, set up by 6 local authorities to work together. Last year, we procured projects worth of total value of 350 million, number of projects, 720 projects, and number of clients, 279. So, you know, a lot of our clients have more than one project with us, which is we feel a symbol of a signal of our value. We do the benefit of communities and enhancing local communities. We're a .gov not-for-profit organisation, and we really do make that very transparent. We ourselves offer grants of £1,000 to clients who nominate projects as part of their offering throughout the Southwest. We have some examples of projects that we have supported over the last 1 year. We have the St Paul's Adventure Playground down the bottom, where we funded a summer play worker. We have in the centre a playground for autistic children. Top right, we have Rusty Road Recovery, where we provided equipment for a workshop for people with mental health issues. So, as I say, lots of people talk about community benefit, but it's difficult to see where that actually goes, but we are very transparent in that. Just going back, our framework covers the modern methods of construction definitions, category 1 and category 2 of the framework definitions. And you will see that this is the actual framework. It has 4 work streams. Workstream 1, volumetric, workstream 2, panelised, workstream 3, high rise, and workstream 4, low rise, category 1 or category 2. What we have is both turnkey and supply only options there, so you can make your choice on that. And we also have a direct award option. The top person on each of those work streams can be awarded directly, which is sometimes useful for clients if they have an urgent requirement, or if something's gone a bit pear-shaped and they need to meet some funding requirements or grant-giving requirements on that. We also have a framework called our Offsite Project Integrator Framework, which is providing consultancy services specifically to assist clients in delivering off-site construction. If you want more information on that, please do contact us or look on our website. So what's been happening in the world of housing? Quite a lot. Do you remember before lockdown, the budget? There was an extension of the affordable homes budget with 12 billion, over 1 billion of allocations from the Housing Infrastructure Fund, and nearly 650 million of funding to help rough sleepers. Seems such a long time ago, doesn't it? What's been happening since then is it's been all about recovery. And the Construction Leadership Council published a roadmap to recovery on the 1st of June, and it has various categories. A really good document. I recommend you reading it. You know, it talks about what should happen in the restart, the 1 to 3 months, reset, and reinvent. And the reinvent is the one where I think lots of applications to offsite and modular. They talk about transforming through growth through the adoption of digital and manufacturing technologies, and that is shown in more detail in this slide. You know, adoption of digital and manufacturing technologies to deliver low carbon, which obviously is part of the agenda, sustainable and better quality outputs and outcomes. As I say, there's a whole load of actions from the Construction Leadership Council in their document that they published. We've also had the Prime Minister's announcement on the 30th of June, build, 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 and as I say, lots more investment in housing infrastructure and growth in our economy, to promote growth in our economy, and new planning regulations. So where are we now? Where are we now? Well, the positives are the measures announced under Build, Build, Build. The current affordable homes programme has been extended because it's been recognised that you know, a lot of projects have been delayed or stalled. We've had the retrofit programme, not directly relevant to this webinar, but announced yesterday, but with showing that the green agenda is coming to the fore. In terms of challenges, Savills have just done a report for Shelter saying that there's only going to be 4,300 social rented houses this year, and 80,000 less homes across all sectors. So, you know, although we do have a very strong requirement for new housing, it is going down. The Rough Sleepers Initiative, is there any more money coming through, or is it all going to be on councils, apart from the amount awarded in the March budget? Zero carbon, you know, Passive House has been recorded as being 20 to 25% more expensive. Are there ways to make it more affordable? And how much of the new money announced is really new money? That's a question people are asking at the moment. So clients have a lot of challenges when we talk to them about using modern methods of construction and off-site. And these are some of the challenges, and these are some of the issues that we hope that our suppliers are going to pick up through their presentations, and we can provide support to our clients and answer these questions. So the one about visiting, well, we're hoping to present you through webinars. When should you talk about early engagement? And I think our suppliers will talk to you about that. There are obviously the number of units, or the pipeline is very important to our suppliers. And some, you know, the sweet spot is having projects of about 30 units, but a lot of people understand, our suppliers understand, that it's a long game and they have to grow the confidence of clients in their methods and their products. And then you've got the issue around procurement. A lot of people get a long way down the road and then realise that they need to fulfil current public sector procurement regulations, and that's what our framework is designed to address. Supply only or turnkey, which works better? You can make both work, but you just need to plan in advance. And is having your own factory a good idea? Well, it is a good idea if you've got lots and lots of supply and demand coming through. But otherwise, it's best to go through established providers. That's me done. I'm now going to hand over to Nick Turner and Stephen Boyd from Building with Frames, and we'll come back for the Q&A at the end.
Thank you very much, Mary. I'm Nick Turner. I'm the General Manager at BWF. I'm just waiting for Steve to join us in a second. I'm just going to open up.
Hi, Nick.
Hi, Steve. Just going to share our presentation. So I hope that's all come up in full screen. So first of all, good morning everyone. So the first thing you'll notice from our title is that we're here as manufacturers. Many of the methods that we actually undertake and use in the factory are not particularly new. They've been in construction for some time. They're tried and tested, except we've put them into a factory setting. So with regards to BWF, we have been trading for over 10 years, developing initially in two quite distinct market sectors. So at our initial stages, we very much dealt with the high-end bespoke housing market and the tourist market. But also through our developments, we've developed a manufacturing base for the home office and kind of annex market. So quite different, distinct sectors that require different outputs. Over the last 5 years, we've developed more into different markets such as increased housing, the home builder market, and also education and other sectors. We've been approached by these markets to provide what we have previously. So 2 years ago, we started our expansion plan, which involved increasing our manufacturing space and capability. So what you get with BWF is an opportunity to work with a company that can deal with and is happy to provide a single one-off bespoke structure, or for a niche actual need, or has the capability to manufacture and deliver multiple units. We're not rigid. We won't look away when you require the one-off build. So this is our present factory.
Sorry, Nick, I can only still see the first screen.
Ah, okay.
Are you going through them?
Yeah, I am. Yeah, 1 second. Let me just let me start sharing again. See if that works. Can you see page 2 of the screen now?
No, you're still. I still see the. I'm not seeing the slideshow view.
Okay, just bear with me. I'll try and get this resolved. Has that come onto second screen yet?
That's on the second screen, yeah.
Okay, but not on. We'll have to work through without it being on that view, unfortunately.
Yeah.
So 2 years ago, we moved into our new factory, which presently has over 1,000 square meters of manufacturing floor space. It's got over 1,800 meters of yard space. It's not a new building, it's an old mine building in an area of regeneration in Cornwall. But it gives us something unique. It gives us the opportunity in Cornwall to have a lot of space, to do bigger panels and bigger systems, to store more and set up set up a greater production line. So what's it like to work with us? We've developed partnerships over the years, and 70% of our business comes from partners that we're working year on, year out. We get to knowledge share, we get to continue to improve and repeat our success. We have knowledge spanning lots of different sectors, and we've all come from the traditional build trade prior to developing our MMC credentials. Our supply chain is well established and has got longevity. We're not the type of company that changes our suppliers for the sake of a few pence on materials. It's important to us to keep that partnership and that relationship with all our material suppliers. We're a Southwest company with a very strong reputation for delivering quality. Growing up in the markets that we've had to deliver quality at an affordable price, especially in the high-end tourist market, where all prices are critical, really, to the outcome of the project. But we have got that flexibility to deliver the one-off, the unique, the bespoke product, but also a repetitive number of projects. So I think we're all familiar with the construction trade and as it stands at the moment, and Mary touched on this a little bit, but So I won't take this through in much detail, but we are kind of facing a little bit of a situation within the construction trade, in the traditional construction trade, mainly based around kind of skill shortages, the need to up production, and the reduction in productivity that we're seeing on sites, but also the push to actually change how we do construction and for zero emission homes. So all of this kind of is coming at the same time as a recession is looming, and we have a pandemic. So it's all a bit of a tall order. So as if you're in the construction trade, you've kind of got to make it quicker, make it better, build more of it, make it environmentally sustainable, and probably with less skilled staff. Oh, and in a recession, probably build it for less. So it is kind of trying times out there, and that's what brings us to obviously the expectations of modern manufacturing. We're all familiar with what modern manufacturing is looking to achieve, and it is to kind of tackle many of the problems that are outlined and are occurring in the construction trade. I won't take too much detail of this because I presume you're all familiar with it, but if there is any questions, you can ask later. So critically, with MMC and all of the expectations on it, it's looking to solve all the problems. No, it's not a panacea, but it can be part of every solution. It's critical to see how it goes into a project at the early stages. And the other major part and thing that we notice all the time is it shouldn't be an afterthought. Many times we get approached with a traditional build that's gone through to the point of procurement, and then we're being asked to come up with an MMC solution for that traditional build. Well, obviously that often involves going backwards to go forwards, and on a time critical project, that can be the dampener or the stop point. So how do we remove some of the barriers? I think Mary discussed earlier that, you know, we've all seen barriers to MMC, and removing the barriers is quite critical to ensuring that we increase the use of MMC, which really hasn't taken off in the UK as much as we presumed it would. So first of all, and the thing, these all comes from really our experiences. In the traditional build market, it's natural to go back to what you know, especially if there's an unknown. So especially if you're looking at a system that you may not be that familiar with. Historically, you may have used a more traditional based system. So it's easier to go back to what you've done before, even though you might have kind of established the problems with that, or the problems with that may be increasing. So the critical way to combat this is to find the right knowledge partner. Find the way to deliver MMC into your project that correctly fits with the need. That's really, I mean, that trying to tackle embedded behaviours is always a kind of a tricky situation. We often come across the old adage, MMC brings legacy issues, and I'm sure I've heard it myself, which is that timber building, that timber construction has been thrown up in days, it won't last. I'd have to ask the question really, any building that has been forced down into its minimum specification, where materials are brought in from the cheapest supplier, as long as they fit the lowest price, and builders are kind of sacrificing skill and care for speed, is always going to cause a problem to a build. And that's the approach that is important to acknowledge when you're dealing with a supplier. Engage early, talk, ensure that you're not degrading the project through specification. The next one, really, constraints in design. We've heard this, and if I have to admit, it's partly driven by some MMC suppliers. With many MMC suppliers wanting to kind of use a pre-designed shape, a box, a container, or a product that they can produce en masse, then there can be constraints to design. However, with kind of BWF, we've approached it differently. We won't try to change the design or look of a building to fit the manufactured production. We'll always try to offer a solution or a part solution for you to allow to get MMC use in the design, and that's critical. Another one is I think we experience this is MMC. Some MMC companies create their own barriers, or what feel like barriers to MMC, to a company using MMC. You have to understand that some off-site house manufacturers have a model based on high volume. It's about design repetition. And then we've got the modular and the container builders that have a kind of model based on repetitive structures. They can all be modified internally, but the design consideration kind of dissipates. They're looking for ways for you to fit into their way of working, and that can often create the barriers that you perceive. And BWF has a different approach. As I said, it's all about looking at the opportunities to bring MMC into a build rather than trying to pigeonhole an existing product or system into your build. The final one really, and is historically developers have found difficulties obtaining finances for projects. I mean, the way this is combated, all of our buildings we design are mortgageable, they're building reg compliant, energy rating. So the financial barriers that were in the past that may be still perceived are going. So how do we help? Early adoption is really critical, but the principle of installing MMC early in your design is critical. So, and we can help you navigate the process. It could be when we start discussions early that we advise against MMC, that a traditional build model actually works better for your project. It could be that we are looking to combine MMC with a traditional model. So it could be that your first floor is done traditional because you want it done out of stonework, and then the floors and the roof are done in a panelised system. It could be that we can deliver it partially modular, or we can deliver it fully modular. But the critical part is we won't pigeonhole what we feel is a product into your situation, your unique project. We may move on to kind of the consultation on design. Once you've embedded the principles of MMC and what you want to use, it could be a panelised system, into your project. You can then explore a little bit more about how far you can go with your MMC. So it could be adding external finishes, internal finishes, doors, windows, and it could be that we have to combine part of that manufacturing the factory, that off-site, with on-site, which we're capable of doing in the Southwest. So we can combine those different build models to find the best solution for your job. And finally, the final stage really is to ensure you specify the correct MMC supplier into the process early, and that can be done within the tender, and it can allow it avoids the degradation of the knowledge that you've already built up to get to this point. And many issues arise, what we've seen when traditional construction sees off-site manufacture as just a product supplier, like it would get something from Jewson's. It is not. It's integral to the actual build, and having that embedded into the actual construction process and in the tender process is really important. So what do we do at BWF? So this is to do with what we actually construct. So we do open and closed panel systems. We do volumetric construction. So that's your modular, that's your boxes, your different approaches to actually a full off-site solution. And we do hybrid systems. So that's a combination of both panelised and volumetric approaches. So that's where I talked about adding the different elements to a panel that allow more of the off-site construction to take place. But critically, as it states there, the best method for delivery of your project is to explore at an early feasibility stage. If you can do it at the feasibility and design stage, you can be discussing with us how best to bring those MMC and how far we can actually go with that MMC in your project. So stage one, and the easiest way to get the maximum benefits really into a project using MMC is to think panelized. It allows us basically to put a system in place that gives you the maximum benefits, but also allows you to take the stages on. It increases speed within your project. It's all pre-designed. There's not any design restrictions with it. And fundamentally, it works well in limited space projects or limited space sites. Little example here is not to be kind of constrained by what building in a panelized system is. This is an example of the design. We're actually undertaking these works and have been during lockdown. This is an apartment block, 4-storey in Perranporth. It's all designed in-house. It is all set so we can provide the correct structural drawings. It is all correctly designed so we can actually panelize the system, label it, deliver it to site. This is a limited area site, so we're delivering it to site in phases, and we're delivering it how it would go together with the method of construction on site. So that's really important to bring that kind of idea that we can actually help along the construction process if we're involved early, and we can actually put that system together. So kind of moving on from the initial stages of the panelized system, allowing you to explore the options. So that could be as simple as adding plumbing and electric conduit into a panel. It could be windows and doors. It could be external, internal finishes. It could be adaptations that you need for DDA or any other reason. And it allows, with the initial stages, to kind of bring that process forward. And there may be sections that we actually say, look, no, that's better to be produced on site. That's not going to work well, or we can see limitations if we try to do that in an off-site system. And then kind of the zenith, really, where you can take your project to if it fits. It can work as working as a complete build or part of a traditional construction, but we don't compromise on finish. Don't think modular is like a box, a temporary box. As you can see from the panel there, you can see some of the finishes, and we're happy to show you some of the finishes. But it the kind of box system only works, or the modular system only works for some projects, and it may not work for you. But a lot of companies will try to sell you that system, whether it works or it won't. It doesn't. So Steve will now kind of take you through a little bit more detail on the panels and the different options we have to improve on thicknesses, to improve insulation, and then it'll bring you back to me once he's completed. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Nick. Okay, so I'm going to look at the panels, and what we're going to do is start with looking at some of the technical details of the panels. But first, I'll explain that these that we're talking about are timber-based systems, of which the main types are CLT, cross-laminated timber, SIPs, structural insulated panels, and timber frame. All of these panels have differing thicknesses, insulation material options, wrapping options, which are breathers and VCLs, and claddings. And they also have varying internal finishes. To begin with the thicknesses, they will vary from 100mm SIPS panels being used for garden rooms, and in particular at the moment for the home offices. Right through to the opposite end of the scale is a 400 to 500mm panel that is a low embodied energy to carbon capture level panel with all the wrappings and internal and external finishes applied. The standard insulation materials are commonly Kingspan and Celotex, which is the same efficient urethane insulation that's used in BBA certified SIP panels. Urethane enables walls to achieve good insulation whilst maintaining thin panels. There is also a mineral wool insulation, which we commonly know as rock wool. Obviously, other brands are available. And the mineral wool is not as efficient and is therefore the walls need to be thicker. These standard insulants are used in a variety of ways to reduce heat loss and acoustic transfer. The wrappings are very underestimated and should always be chosen to a specific project. Cladding and internal finishes also have a part to play in the panel design to consider the combined R values to make up the final U value. There are also fire considerations and so on. So it's choices, choices, choices. And on this slide here, where we're looking at the different incidents, we have something that many industries are all going to be looking at the same time, obviously not with the same products, but they're going to be looking at this sort of chart. BWF are on the journey along with developing people and systems to manufacture and deliver off-site products that are efficiently built to high standards, capturing carbon and storing for its lifetime, but most importantly, doing it cost efficiently. Our panels are predominantly manufactured in the carbon impact zone that you can see at the moment. Although we like to think that even whilst we've used these insulants and still use these insulants, we're doing it at a very high level of efficiency that's reducing the use of boilers and other heating systems. But our aim is to move more and do it this year into the carbon capture zone, the areas that you see below. And so we're investing in machinery, we're partnering with a university and hope to find partners that want to enjoy that journey that we're on as well. So it's brief from me, but back to Nick.
Thank you, Steve. So I'll just run through some of the kind of current partnership projects we have on at the moment, because it might give you an insight into a project that you're presently looking at or is coming up in the future. So first of all, we've got, as kind of Mary described, there's a push for homes for the homeless with people being brought into hotel accommodation. It's not right that we should then put them back onto the street. So we are presently working on 60 units, which are complete off-site modular, 1-bedroom homes for the homeless, all built to full building regulations, but movable, relocatable if needs be, if the situation changes in the future. So that's one of our projects at the moment, and one of our partnership projects. Another one is that we are working on DDA additions to existing housing stock. So the client identified that they chose this route really to minimise disruption and change to main family home structures. It allows them to easily change use in the future without kind of putting the house back to a condition that it was previously and spending kind of money twice, 3 times over the lifespan of their housing stock. So each one of these projects, and there is a number, each one of these projects is designed individually to fit the needs of the user, and some of the users' needs are very complex, but it also has to fit the need of the housing stock. So that some of these projects are designed to be modular and movable. Some are annex buildings, some are partially built on site, some are delivered completely off site. So what we've done is our kind of unique approach, which is to develop a system that allows the flexibility to move and fit the projects really. We've been one of the biggest manufacturers to the home office solution trade. Obviously that's in a massive boom period or experience a massive boom, and also annexes. And we are a provider to one of the UK's biggest sellers of these products. So that's quite, it's a voluminous. We're producing a lot of these, but each one is generally unique. People aren't buying the same kind of module for every need. So we're having to look at different specifications all the time with that partner. We're obviously we're working in the new build housing market. Generally, it's the 5-unit system at the moment with the people that we're working with, although we've got capacity to do more and we're discussions to do more with them. It tends to be the smaller numbers, the medium developers, and they're looking for either a panelised system or a full turnkey solution, which we offer, and full building compliance, and then mortgageable. So we're used to kind of dealing with that. Generally, it's in the southwest, but we have gone further afield in the past. Multi-level apartment blocks. We've obviously got the one going on in Perranporth. We've previously done 5-storey student accommodation. So again, using a modular system or a panelised system. And obviously, the place where we grew up, our high-end tourist accommodation, and these aren't cabin buildings. They're not mobile homes. Our buildings are mortgageable again, built to full building regulations, and these are generally a turnkey solution with generally a range of off-site solutions mixed in. And education market, we're involved in building extensions to schools and nursery buildings and the likes. These are generally turnkey solutions again, part off-site, part on-site solutions. And finally, our bespoke house building market. It's always been there. It can be a little bit testing at times, as everybody knows, due to the inexperience of the client. However, developing in this market has provided a real knowledge and opportunity to work on projects that can vary drastically in design and cost requirements. And the critical thing about it is remembering that these are people's homes, and it's possibly the only time they'll do this project. So kind of working through systems is really what we're looking to do. Just bear with me 1 second.
The joys of working from home.
Yeah, the dog wants to come in. And she doesn't give up. So yeah, that gives you an understanding of the partnership projects that we're working on at the moment. So this is my final slide and kind of final point of discussion, and it overarches what we've been discussing. So this is what we know works, really. It's really important to look ahead, to plan the pipeline of developments, and that is not about security. It's about actually early imparting the knowledge and understanding a project from its kind of feasibility and how best to deliver it. Don't be swayed. MMC, if you embed it into every project, it may be just an element. It could be just a manufacture of the building fabric, or it could be a system or a full off-site solution. It's what fits best for the project that's important. If you sold a one-size-fits-all solution, then it's probably not going to meet what your needs are going to be. So if people are trying to sell you a container to fulfill your housing stock, that may work for one project. That containerized building is important, but you can't consider it. If people are trying to only sell you one solution, it's not going to end up as actually fundamentally meeting the needs of the project. Really critical, develop a supply chain partnership with like-minded local companies that benefit local society. We've heard from Mary about how they're looking to benefit society. One of the best benefits that you can give to society is building in in your own environment. It provides jobs. It also provides the whole idea of my dad built that, and I'm a strong believer in that. You know, I can travel around the Midlands where I'm originally from, and I can take you to 20 buildings of different shapes and sizes, and I can say my dad built that, and that gives a pride in an area, and by also creating jobs and infrastructure. One critical point, and this is what we found through the years, is if you're working with us, share and promote us as an MMC partner. There's so many times, and it's so kind of annoying to find out that you know, you've had a conversation with someone later and gone, I just know the people that could have sorted that problem out for you, but it's too late. So share, if you want to work with us, share us as a solution provider. Your colleagues in different departments, maybe even thinking about projects that you don't even know about at the moment. They may be at feasibility stage, and then you can actually impart that knowledge, and we can work collectively to try and improve the standard of MMC and bring all those benefits to your building projects. And the final bit, and what I've noticed, kind of moving from a traditional building model to MMC, is the unique opportunity it allows you to review, improve and repeat. Construction is always constrained, and I think we've all seen it. I've had a project manager change 3 times on a build. You know, it's almost impossible to get back the same crew that built a project for you that was really successful, and it's almost impossible after the event to get everybody together and do the learnings and actually improve the outcome for the next project. Construction can be very transient in its people, and people often move around. Manufacturing is different. We're geared to work on continual improvement. We work on Six Sigma. We're open. We want to be able to examine a project because we can maybe we can make it more cost effectively. Maybe the next one we can improve on how we delivered the unit. Maybe it's just a case that we can keep that in the background and all that knowledge, and then if we get a similar project, we can then come back to it 2 or 3 years later to allow it to repeat. Well, those systems are almost impossible in construction. So that's a unique kind of reason why MMC and working with a manufacturer who has off-site and on-site capabilities will bring you a maximum benefit. So thank you very much for listening. I will kind of lead you to a Q&A session now and stop sharing my screen. Thank you. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Right. Thank you very much, Nick and Stephen. And you've generated a lot of questions, which are for you to answer. So thank you. Obviously, a lot of interest. I'll read through the questions, and obviously you can have a stab at answering them now, and if there's any further information, we can obviously send it out with the packs that we will be sending out. We will be sending out copies of the presentation or recording of the webinars to all who've attended. But anyway, let's go through the questions first of all. So question 1, we've had further constraints following Grenfell that no flammable material is included in the structure. Therefore, the use of rock wool is required for insulation, and timber has proved less economically. If your systems are timber-based, how do you achieve grade A fire? So really the question about the fire rating of your systems. I don't know whether you'd like to answer that one.
Yeah. I'll take that as a technical one.
Yeah.
At the moment, we're looking at all different areas because obviously Grenfell has changed the dynamics of the situation completely. So we're working with TRADA, we're working with the STA, and we've also signed up to partner with the university. So we've got a couple of professors working with us, and we're looking to launch and develop new products that will overcome all the fire constraints that are coming up. But we just need to know what we're working with first, because it can be the cladding systems, it can be the timber frame. So, you know, we just got to find out what we're working with first, what exactly everybody's happy with and not happy with, and then we'll take it from there. Because Some things the Council of Mortgage Lenders will accept, some things building control will accept, but they may differ. Some people are saying that you can still have timber cladding, but it's got to be fire treated both sides and impregnated. Some are saying that it needs a backing board that would be a cementitious board. So there's lots of things that we do have to overcome, but we're working on it at the moment.
Thank you. I hope that answers the question. And if the questioner wants any more dialogue on it, please do get back.
Yeah.
Yes, yes. Hang on. My limited experience with MMC has been bathroom pods. The programming has been a big constraint, fitting in with fixed factory production slots, but with delays on site, usually weather, delaying the installation of the pod. And the pod lying around has potential for damage on site. A just-in-time is ideal with the flexibility of a call-off. So maybe you can talk about production slots and flexibility and that sort of thing.
Do you want that, Nick, or do you want me to?
Yeah, I mean, well, I'll start if I can, and then maybe you can interject.
Yeah.
We used to working in just in time. That's what we do. We also used to storing, and that's why we've moved into the new premises, so we are allowed to do that. We in all of our markets, and obviously with traditional build, if you're tying in with traditional build, then delivery is really critical. But we understand that flexibility on the on-site delivery is really important to the actual constructors on site. So we're fully familiar with delivering just in time. Just in time also has to consider that we have the time to actually manufacture. So what we would rather be in a position to do is actually pre-manufacture and store than try and deliver in a short time frame.
Yeah, I'd agree. And also we often have an open policy on our project plans with our customers so that they can see when we're going to deliver and what process we're in at that time. And so that's a really good way of them seeing what we're doing. But we also ask questions of the clients as have they got this ready, have they got that ready, and is this in place and is that in place? So that all ends up on the same screen, on the same project plan, so that we are all working to that well-known hymn sheet.
Thank you. And the final question is, can you include and manage the groundworks package in the delivery of the project?
Prefer not to.
Yeah, that's our kind of mode on it.
We have done it locally in Cornwall, but outside Cornwall is just too much for us.
Okay, right.
And can I just add something just on what Nick was, as Nick finished the presentation, it just occurred to me that, you know, we have carried on working throughout the lockdown period. Separation when you're on opposite sides of benches is actually quite easy. So we've managed that. Plus with timber stocks in, we've managed to keep our materials when lots of material supplies have stopped. We've also I've just taken on one young person yesterday and take on another person next week. And this is to sort of bring new people in our new future of going forward, which we think is really positive.
And I suppose in addition to that, and going back to the just-in-time principle, that the situation with the pandemic, we've had to kind of waylay a lot of deliveries that were occurring on site. Yeah. We've had to overcome a disproportionate amount of those problems very quickly. You know, we've got projects that are very large that have had to be stored because all of a sudden they were due to go ahead in March and now they're not going ahead till October. So we're used to kind of changing, and that's been a real big learning curve for us. We've never had to kind of deal with that level of it, and we've dealt with it. You know. Yeah,
we've actually, oddly enough, we have 2 cheetah lodges and some elephant lodges actually in our factory that's supposed to be at a safari park.
Yeah, they're meant to be built by now.
Yeah, but hopefully they'll go out in September now.
Yeah.
Okay.
Sorry, my dog's just coming again. Dogs are always on the wrong side of the door, as they say.
Yes, yes. Well, thank you. Oh, we've had another question pop up. Hang on, we've had another question pop up. Oh, it's just somebody saying thank you.
Thank you very much.
So if anybody else has any other questions they'd like to direct either to us or to Building with Frames, please do. We'll provide the contact details, but it's good to talk and to discuss. And I think Stephen and Nick slightly undersold themselves in terms of their environmental efficiency, but they are very, very keen on the carbon footprint and the carbon agenda. And I believe, Stephen, you have a new machine you're just about to put in, haven't you?
We're aiming to, yes.
Yes.
Very shortly.
What's that machine?
Well, I don't want to go into too many details.
Oh, right. Oh, okay.
For cellulose fibre installation as well.
Fibre.
To get us onto that carbon capturing zone. Yeah. Thank you.
Yeah. Okay. Well, thank you very much, everybody. And we look forward to working together. Building with Frames, as I say, they're very important to us because they're a local supplier supporting the local economy and are very involved in the green agenda. So they're sort of a supplier that ticks all our boxes at the Southwest Procurement Alliance. So we look forward to lots of productive work with clients and with Building with Frames. Thank you very much,
Mary.
everybody.
Thank you, Mary.
Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye.